So excited to be able to do this today. I am joined by the author of the book, Finding Margaret, Margery Phelps. Margery, thanks for joining us here today.
Oh, it's great to be with you today.
So tell us a little bit about you and how you show up in the world.
Well, I'm an identical twin. I guess I'm still an identical twin. My identical twin sister passed away a little over 4 years ago. It was kind of a shock. I still don't know to say if I'm a twin or not. You know, it's half my identity was my twin sister. Um, Grew up in Atlanta. I majored in journalism in college. Went back to college in my 40s to get an associate degree in accounting. Majored in journalism, and never thought about writing about health until my mom, who was the medical and scientific illustrator of CDC, was killed by proper use of prescription drugs in 1990, and started researching about health. In the year she died from prescription drugs, I found over 400,000 people died from proper use of prescription drugs. So that launched me on my path to writing about health and wellness. In the meantime, while I was in college getting my associate degree in accounting, the college professor walked in the first night of economics class, slammed a book down on his desk, and I looked up, and I had a vision of a little lady as clear as you are on the screen, and she was holding her arms in front of him, out in front of him, and she said, "He's special, protect him." Well, I've been highly sensitive and empathic and intuitive all my life, and I've had a lot of what people call ESP episodes, but never about somebody I didn't know, and never anything as profound as that. And that launched me on a 3-year path of discovering my soul's journey and what this man had to do with my life that I had never met before, and who this little lady was.
Wow, that is so interesting. So tell us about the book, Finding Margaret. What is it all about, and what did you discover?
Well, in the journey, I mean, I really, really thought I was crazy, which is why I like your suggestion for the subtitle. I started dreaming all sorts of dreams. It was like if you take a motion picture and you chop up all the little frames of the film and just mix it up. So one night I dreamed one thing, and one night I dreamed another thing, and it just made no sense, and it was very dire. There was a lot of blood. There was a lot of destruction. There was a lot of pain and suffering. I couldn't figure it out. Became very depressed, lost the use of one arm, lost a lot of weight, and finally I thought, I'm just totally crazy. I was suicidal, and I went to a psychiatrist. I said, I'm crazy, and I told him my story, and he said, "You're not crazy." As a matter of fact, he said, "You've got a wonderful mind. You need to be working with a parapsychologist." I said, "A what?" He said, "A parapsychologist." I said, "You gotta be kidding me." And he referred me to Dr. David Roll, who was at that time at West Georgia College, and or his mentor, who was over in Alabama at the time, um, Dr. Dr. Ryan, who was also at North Carolina. I said, I can't be traveling on the road to go see a parapsychologist. I'll just give me something for depression. Maybe I'll sleep better and get over it. So I went on for another 6 months. The dreams got more dire. I knew dates. I knew had an idea of something devastating was going to happen in Atlanta. A lot of people going to die. So I finally picked up the phone one day and called the Georgia Psychological Association and said, "Do you have a parapsychologist?" And they said, "Oh, yes, we've got a highly recognized parapsychologist. He's in Tucker, Georgia. Is that convenient to you?" Well, it just happened. I lived near Stone Mountain, and I worked in Chamblee, so I drove right by Tucker every single day. And I called this man, and that was the launch into a totally new way of looking at life for me. And I thought, wow, if this could happen to me, this is happening to other people. They just don't know it.
So what do we cover in book one? I mean, I know we broke it down into a trilogy so we can tease people a little bit. How far do we get in the story in book one?
In book one, we get to now in the book, I call myself Emma. I wrote the book in third person so I could be more objective about the character. I also had to fictionalize the names to protect identities um, because of the situation that I saw unfolding in Atlanta. But so the introduction is all about the other things that Emma's got going on in her life. Her husband was kind of a screwball, and he was a chronic liar, and his mother was not any better, and there was a lot of family situations. And the reason I wrote it that way is because I want people to recognize that when you're having what I call a past life crisis, in other words, meeting somebody from a past life that turns your life upside down, other things are going on too. It's not just simple, straightforward, just this one thing. Other things are happening. There's a financial crisis. There was, the banking storm was hitting the United States economy, and it affected my family. My husband was a builder, and so we talk about the financial crisis. I also introduce people to some of the concepts of the environmental dangers going on. So you got all these things playing out, and I want people to have a really good concept of it's not simple, straightforward. It's very complicated.
So, I mean, you thought you were crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what I bet you there's somebody out there right now that is going through the same thing. How does a person determine that they're maybe not crazy? They're maybe just dealing with this stuff.
Well, that's one of the reasons I wanted to write the book, because since I wrote the first edition, which of course this is a much improved, this trilogy is much improved. I started getting contacted by people in France and in Italy, and even a lady in Singapore, and we've had a lot of talks. I do reincarnation counseling, and she expressed to me the exact same feelings that I had when I met the professor. And she said, and I've got this in the book, she said, this man walked in my office one day and shook my hand, and turned my life upside down. And I said, wow, this is not uncommon. This is happening. People need to recognize it.
What kind of effects does it have on people? What different things do people find themselves experience that are really just another life intruding into this life?
Well, a big part of it, of course, is mental and emotional. For example, when I met the teacher, I started shivering. I had violent shivering and shaking, like I was freezing cold, which is later uncovered in book 3. Um, like the girl in Singapore that I did some counseling with, she was like me. She became suicidal and extremely depressed from the dreams that she was having. Well, it turned out that the dreams she was having were past life dreams. She was dreaming about her past life with this man, and many people, especially adults, will uncover past life situations in their dreams. They just don't recognize it. But what I like to tell people is when you meet somebody and you have an overwhelming emotional response to them, either negative or positive, more than likely that's a past life connection. Have you ever met somebody and you just instantly know them at the core of their being and you can't explain it? That's a past life connection. And we all have them because we're all reincarnated.
So, for a person that thinks they're crazy, maybe there's a different answer. What would be the first thing that they could do to see if this is what's happening for them?
Well, I highly suggest working with a licensed psychologist or hypnotherapist. Now, there's a lot of people out there called psychics who claim to know past lives and help people, and I am dead set against that. Past life work is extremely important. It's extremely fragile, and it has to be handled with a professional. So it's not something to be taken lightly. If you've got dreams that you lived in a castle and you were a princess, and you go to a psychic, they're going to pick up on those vibes that's what you've been dreaming. That may not be true at all. The proper way to get into your past is to really do hypnotherapy, what they call past life regressions. and that's how I did it with a licensed, highly respected psychologist here in Atlanta, and we uncovered facts that were provable. I mean, you have to have some sort of fact to substantiate your story.
The book is called Finding Margaret. It's book one of the trilogy. A lot of fun, and everybody's going to want the book. We may have to make you wait a couple of weeks to get it just to get you all antsy and stuff. But you can get book one today for free. If a person wants to go deeper with you and, talk about their past lives or those kind of things, how can a person get a hold of you?
They can get me through my website, findingmargaret.com. It's real simple, and there's links to me there. Or you can go to my personal website, which has got my other books on it, and that's margeryphelps.com. That's MARGERY, Phelps, PHELPS.com. And both people can contact me either way through the website.
Well, Margery, thanks so much for spending some time with me here on Facebook Live and on the radio show today.
Thank you for having me. I've enjoyed being with you.